Well, let's get to this video, which will be all of the rest of my horror movies on DVD. Here we're going to go from the letter L all the way to the end. All right. I believe let's get to the letter Y because I don't have any Z ones. All right. We'll start with the Lazarus Effect, which I also have on Blu-ray. Though I did buy this one first because I had been looking for the Blu-ray at a cheap price, for quite some time, and I didn't find it, so I decided to just go ahead and buy the DVD. But sure enough, shortly after I did come across the Blu-ray at a reasonable price, and I got it. So I have this one. I double dipped with this one. Pretty interesting movie. I think it could have been a lot better. It's about bringing people back from the dead with a scientific means, not with sorcery or anything or black magic. So, but I think it's pretty cool. Of course, when they come back, they're not the way they used to. Okay, I like it. It's a pretty good movie. And then we have another one that I also have on Blu-ray, which is Let Me In. Okay, here I can't remember if I bought the Blu-ray or the DVD first, but the reason I bought it was because two reasons. Number one, this really cool slipcover. This really cool slipcover here, as you can see. There's the cover of the DVD, and also because it includes a comic book that is a prequel to Let Me In. In fact, I also have the comic book, in a regular edition, because right here it comes in a smaller DVD size edition. All right, Let Me In, of course, just like it says right there, one of the best American horror films in the last 20 years. So says Stephen King, and so say I as well. All right, and then I also have the original Swedish version of Let Me In, which is Let the Right One In. Now I know a lot of people, rag on the remake, or I'm not even gonna say the remake. I'm just going to say just another version of the story. Both of these are only a couple of years apart, and so this is really the American version and the original Swedish version. And by a hair, I prefer the American version. I know that's not a popular opinion, but that's the way I see it. I think the American version throws in a couple of elements that were not in the book, by the way, that make the movie a bit more interesting. All right, with the characters and all. Let Me In and Let the Right One In. We continue here with Life Force, and a movie that I did see back when it was originally released. Vampires from Space, and I believe this is based on a book by Colin Wilson called precisely The Space Vampires, and this is one I really want to upgrade to Blu-ray as soon as I find one at a decent price, because the Blu-ray for this is pretty expensive. But the reason being, most of the time I'm happy with my DVDs, but the transfer in this one is really horrible. So this is one that I really want to update to Blu-ray. All right, it's become a bit of a cult classic over the years. We continue now with Lizzie Borden Took an Axe. Big fan of Christina Ricci. Saw this movie, this cover, gotta have it. Of course, they're based on the true life crime story of Lizzie Borden, who killed her parents with an axe, or so they say. The jury's still out, or rather, no, the jury's not out because they did acquit her, I believe. And then we continue now with A Lovely Molly. A movie that I saw in the movie theaters, and really a very interesting movie here, from the makers of the Blair Witch Project and the Lord of the Rings. I don't know what the connection is with the Lord of the Rings, but anyway, this is a pretty interesting movie. It's very, how do I say, the characters carry the story, and they're in this situation that is just is it supernatural, or is it in this woman's head? Of course, here we have the main character, and the way the cover is it makes it look like if it's like this actually happens to the character. It doesn't. This never happens to the character. She never appears like that. You know, it's a pretty good movie. I got this one used, but not for $79.99. I can't remember how much I paid for it. You know, but it is a used one. In this case, I'm happy with the DVD because the image on the original film is a bit grainy, you know, on purpose, I believe. So I don't think going up to the Blu-ray is going to help any. Lovely Molly, pretty good movie. Check it out if you haven't done it. Then we have here another from Blast from the Past. Here we have a Luther the Geek. You know, pretty much what it says. It's about this guy who's a geek, goes around killing people. Bought it mainly because it stars the super hot Stacey Haydock, who appears nude in a couple of scenes in this movie. And not only that, the special features of the movie have even more nudity from Miss Haydock. So that's always a plus. Love that. Those are the kind of special features that I really like. All right, so Luther the Geek, also a cult classic. Well, cult movie, I wouldn't call it a classic, but there it is. We now continue with one that is a cult classic. Here we have The Mansion of Madness. This is a Mexican movie, La Mansión de la Locura, here on my DVD, from the director of Alucarda. All right, a movie that I showed in a previous video. Here, based, I believe, on an Edgar Allan Poe story, The System of Dr. Tar and Professor Feather. It's a pretty creepy movie. Really, it's really what it says. You know, the Mansion of Madness, right there. Glad to have it. We now continue with some more low-budget goodness. Mesa of Lost Women. Okay. What can you say? I don't know if I should put this in the science fiction section or here in the horror section, but it is what it is. All right. Mesa of Lost Women. Continuing now with more Sci-Fi Channel movies. Here we have it is a Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. The title is in Spanish, as you can see right there, because I live in Mexico, is where I bought many of these DVDs. If you've seen any of these, you've seen them all. It is exactly what it says, Mega Shark versus Crocosaurus. We continue with another one here. It is Mega Shark versus Giant Octopus. Like I said, you've seen one, you've seen them all. I don't know which one of these two came first, but I don't think it really matters. Here, of course, starring Debbie Gibson in this one. This one does not star Debbie Gibson. So, just for that, I would prefer this one. We continue now here with The Monster Squad. Here at the 2-disc 20th anniversary edition. And this is a movie, yes, I saw it when it originally came out. It comes in a slipcase here. But the image is the exact same as on the slipcase. And yes, it's a cool movie, you know, but I'm not as fond of it as many people are, you know, who have it as a childhood favorite. I think it's okay. You know, I'm not really that big of a fan of movies with kids in them, you know, with kid protagonists. The Monster Squad, of course, all of the creatures are the, you know, Dracula, Frankenstein, the Wolfman. They're really the main reason to watch this movie. Here we have this very cheap, you know, just like a little more than a small slipcase, a sleeve here for The Mother of Tears, which is the third movie in the trilogy for Dario Argento's trilogy of the starting with Suspiria, and the second one, whose title escapes me right now. It's just an okay movie. I'm not really that fond of it. You know, main draw here is that it stars his daughter, Asia Argento. Mother of Tears. And then we continue here with a really good movie. Here, a Nosferatu. You know, the Klaus Kinski as Dracula. This is a Dracula movie. And a very interesting one, extremely stylish. I have here this movie was filmed in English and in German, you know, at the same time, and this is the German version. Of course, both the versions are identical, but that's just a little trivia there for you. Nosferatu. This is another one that I want to upgrade to Blu-ray just to get a better image of it. Though this DVD looks pretty decent. Here we have Odd Thomas, based on the book by, is it the Dean Koontz, I believe? Well, letters are too small for me to read right there, but I believe it is. It's based on a series of books with this character Odd Thomas, who was able to see these demons that exist that are always around us. So he's a person that has this power. I started watching this movie, but I didn't finish it, so I have not yet watched all of it. We now continue here with The Omen. This is the first movie, the first original movie from the 70s, and I do have it on Blu-ray in a Blu-ray box set. This is the 30th anniversary edition. Here you see that the Spanish title is La Profecía, which means of prophecy, which is how they translate it. Well, not translated, but that's the title that was given to The Omen in the Spanish markets. And here we have, I like that the slipcase and the DVD cover is slightly different, you know. Check it out. Gregory Peck and Lee Remick, and then the evil kid. Get rid of that glare. There we go. And then with the slipcase, you have, you know, the same image, but more of a close-up. You know, when you have a slipcase, I like it when there's a little bit of difference between the two. Of course, like I said, I have this on Blu-ray, but I'm not getting rid of this copy. I think it's a pretty good copy. I like the slipcase. Happy to have it in my collection. A classic, of course. A classic, of course. Then we have here another one that I got from a Blockbuster used back when it was still around. This is a P2. That's right. It's the letter P and the number 2. It refers to a parking lot. You know, the parking lot, second level. So it's this woman that gets trapped in a building, you know, over the holidays, I believe, and she's there with a stalker, and so she has to fight him. It's a decent thriller, decent. The actress here is Rachel Nichols. We now continue with Piranha. Here, this is the remake, not the original. The original Piranha. Yeah, but what can you say? It is what it is. Killer fish eating people. Lots of fun. There we go. I also have Piranha 2 on Blu-ray. We continue here with a very odd movie, a very unique movie here. Peter Weir's The Last Wave. Here you see that that's title is called Las Premoniciones, which means the premonitions, which is kind of what the movie is about. It's about a man who is Richard Chamberlain, who's starting having visions of a gigantic wave that is going to cause mass destruction. The movie is set in Australia, and it incorporates some of the Aboriginal beliefs, you know, and mythology into this movie. Interesting stuff. We now continue here with a 2-pack of Rats and Venomous. I don't know if I've seen either of these movies. So, in fact, I know I have not. The 2-pack of Rats and Venomous. I have to get around to watching these. Now, Revenge of Frankenstein. The Revenge of Frankenstein, excuse me. Hammer Film. Peter Cushing. Frankenstein, can't go wrong. All right. It is what it is. An interesting, one of the several Frankenstein movies that were made by Hammer Films. Pretty good. We now continue here with Rogue. Here you see the the original English title right there under the Spanish title, Terror Bajo el Agua, which means terror under the water. In fact, I've seen this movie given several different titles in its Spanish version. Sometimes it's called Terror Under the Sea, or something along the lines of The Killer Alligator, or whatever. Well, anyway, this is really one of the best Killer Croc movies there is. Really one of the best, and certainly the best of the recent ones. It's set in Australia, and it's about this group of tourists who go on a trip, sightseeing trip, and they get trapped on a small, not an island, just a small outcropping of land, and a killer croc hunts them down. It's a very simple premise, but very well executed. Recommend it if you haven't seen it. Another one that I have to upgrade to the Blu-ray because this one is full screen, so I want my full screen Rogue if I can get it. We continue here with another one of my favorite of recent years, The Ruins. People going on a expedition over to Mexico, and they are going to visit some ruins. In this case, a pyramid. And once they get to the ruins, there is something there that keeps them trapped. I'm not going to give too much away with it about the plot, but this is a really good movie and very well made. I have read the original book upon which it is based, which is also very good. Very much recommended. The Ruins here, pretty good stuff. A really suspenseful movie. Another one, the only other one besides Alucard that I have from Mondo Macabro. Here we have a Satanico Pandemonium. It's pretty much a nunsploitation. That's what it is. Nuns possessed by the devil. And if you like nunsploitation, you'll love this one, Satanico Pandemonium. It's a Mexican movie. One of the several cult Mexican classics that I have in my collection. We have now here with the Lucio Fulci movie, Seven Notes in Black. We have Sette Note in Nero, or also known as The Psychic. Here, this is indeed about a woman that has psychic visions, and it's more of a mystery than a horror, but they're really, really good. Here, the actress that appears here, who is Jennifer O'Neill, is just stunning in this movie. Really like this movie. This is in the original Italian, so I'm pretty glad to have it. It says right there in the top, Película de culto, which means a cult a movie, and yes, it is. Continue now with a sunset. A solstice. A pretty common ghost story. Nothing extraordinary about it, but enjoyable. It's got a teen cast, but it's a teen cast that is not completely annoying, like many other movies with young people that go into the woods. And because I really hate that plot of young people going into the woods and behaving like total idiots. This is not the case. Okay, Solstice. This one stars a very young, what's her name? Amanda Seyfried. In one of her first roles. That is not her. And but she has here a secondary role. We continue here with the Soul Survivors, the Killer Cut. Here we see Eliza Dushku in the front, even though here she is really one of the supporting characters. The main character is this girl right here. And another interesting movie about a mystery, a supernatural mystery. And I recently heard that the makers of the Final Destination, or rather, vice versa, that the makers of this movie accused the makers of the Final Destination series of copying the plot. And there is, yes, a similarity between two, because it refers, about death and cheating death, life after death, and things of that sort. All right, check this out if you haven't seen it. It's pretty interesting. Soul Survivors. We continue here with a Thirst, another one that I got there used at Blockbuster. This is an Asian movie, and it's a vampire movie. Really, really good. I really like this. I saw this when it originally came out in movie theaters. Pretty, very interesting stuff. Really liked it. One of my favorite vampire movies of recent years. Continuing on with, Van Helsing here. What can you say? It is what it is, I had a lot more hopes for this movie, but there's just a whole bunch of CGI crap that I didn't really care for. Making it more of an action movie than a horror movie. You got, Frankenstein, Dracula and the Wolfman, and they make it into an action movie. So I'm not really too fond of this movie. All right. Moving right along, another one that I also have on Blu-ray here, we have Walled In, a movie about a building, not a cursed building, but yes, a building that has a unique history behind it. It's kind of hard to explain this movie. It's also, again, more of a mystery than horror, though there are horror elements in it. All right, Walled In. It stars, it is Mischa Barton in this movie. The Watcher in the Woods, one that I did not watch back in the day, though I wish I had, because it's one of the movies that I just never got to see in movie theaters. So I'm glad to have this DVD. It combines several the mystery story, the horror story, and a little bit of science fiction also. Here we have the face of Betty Davis there, being all creepy. The Watcher in the Woods. I've also read the original book upon which it is based, and the book and the movie are quite different. I do prefer the movie a little bit more than the book in this case. Pretty good. A Disney movie also. And here we have Whisper. We see here the Spanish title is El Hijo del Diablo, but one, I saw this in the movie theater, and yes, a very, very interesting movie. Like I said before, I don't really like movies with kids, the killer kid and whatever, kid horror. But this one does have a kid in it, and it's a reminiscent of The Omen in a way. And it's a really, really good. I really enjoyed it. It's a movie that has well, no, I'm not going to say an original story, but because it's not, but it is, yes, very well made. Really enjoyed here Whisper. This one I have it's full screen. This is my version. So again, if I see it on a Blu-ray, I'm going to pick it up just to get the widescreen. We're almost done here. Of course, another classic, The Wicker Man. What can you say? I have this on Blu-ray, the extended cut on Blu-ray. But of course, I don't want to get rid of my DVD. A cult classic, a must in every horror fan collections. We continue here with The Wolfman, and a movie that I really, really like. A lot of people don't like this movie or have just simply ignored it, but I think it's pretty good. It's a movie that I remember when they announced it, I was just waiting for it forever, and they just kept pushing it back and back and back until it was finally released. All right, this is the DVD. I will get the Blu-ray if I come across it at a cheap price. Though this DVD looks pretty good. Contains as it says, 2 versions, unrated and theatrical cut. Pretty good stuff. The transformations here are really, really good. Wrong Turn 3-pack. Of course, we have Wrong Turn 1, 2, and 3. The first one is the one I got it for, which is that one right there with Eliza Dushku, which is a pretty good a backwoods horror genre type of movie. The other two are just well, pretty generic. All right, though there are some interesting moments in the other two, but the first one is the one that stands out. You know, like in many of these series. Wrong Turn 3-pack. Of course, I got this very cheap, which is why I bought it. And last, but definitely not least, Young Frankenstein. All right, still funny after all these years. Here I have my Region 4, it says right there. And, well, what can you say? You gotta have this one. Of course, it is a comedy, not a horror movie, but it's just such an excellent parody. You know, everything about it is just perfect. It's one of the movies you can just watch again and again. Well, that does it for my horror on a DVD. I still have one more block of movies to show, which is my classic movies on DVD. That would be Frankenstein, Dracula, the Wolfman, and such, which I will show in another video. All right, but for now, thank you very much for watching, and so long. Hit the like button if you like this video. Thank you.